Did Patrick Mahomes suffer a concussion on the very first drive of the game versus the Philadelphia Eagles?
We didn't start how we wanted to.
How did this generational quarterback have the worst Super Bowl performance in history? Well, this hit from Jalen Carter might explain it. We'll give it to you from the end zone angle as well. One thing we could say for certain is that his head did indeed whip onto the turf of the Superdome. So one more time, super slow motion. Jalen Carter, it's not a dirty play at all. He grabs him by the legs. Patrick Mahomes goes a little airborne, so he's coming down with a good bit of velocity. Bang! Patrick Mahomes' dome on the dome floor.
Those hits affect our quarterback.
All right.
It affects how you throw the ball. People won't say that stuff. Go back and watch the game.
And that's exactly what we're going to do, Mr. Reid. So this is 2 plays before the big hit. And I want you to watch this entire process. And it is just so smooth. Good, quick footwork, good planted back leg. This little no-look throw where you look into the flat, get Cooper DeJean, the birthday boy, out of the window here, and you're actually throwing the in-breaker. It's not quite a no-look because he's not looking at Worthy when he's throwing it, but that's part of it, right? And look at how sharp that is. Bang! Right on that number 9 for Juju Smith-Schuster, and it is a first down. So let's get to the very next drive. 3rd and 3 right here. And yes, there is a good bit of pocket collapsing happening here from the defensive end position. This ball to Xavier Worthy did eventually open up. Obviously, he did not have time to throw it, but in a perfect world, he could have stepped up right here and found it. But let's not even focus on that because that is a longer developing play, even though if you do have Worthy on a linebacker, you probably should take the vertical every single time there. The truth is, he gets off of that, and then he is looking in the direction of Hollywood Brown right here for a first down. Okay, so now Hollywood Brown runs in his direction, and this is where I think Mahomes' depth perception just gets off a little bit. Nolan Smith is currently not tripping him, right? He himself jumps up into the air. If he just steps through here, he's running for a huge gain. Instead, he does this little jump pass, and it's an incompletion. So let's get to this 3rd and 3, and maybe Kansas City Chiefs fans can correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, their pass protection was terrible. It did seem, though, in rewatching this game, I've been doing Chiefs film studies all year long, that Mahomes really took his time setting protections versus a cookie-cutter defense, right? As many of you know already, in all our film studies, the Eagles played pretty much quarters, zone concepts. Did they mix a few man concepts and simulated pressures in there? Sure, but for those that don't know ball, basically, this was about as simple of a game plan as you'll see from Vic Fangio, especially going up against the great Andy Reid. But the downside of spending so much time at the line of scrimmage is that everyone's got to stay in their stances for a very long time, okay? So it did seem that Mahomes was unsure of himself a few times in just setting protections versus 4-man rushes. Now, there is not a concept or a quarterback or a tight end on the planet Earth you want more in this situation than a spacing concept versus zone between Patrick Mahomes and the great Travis Kelce. And this is open, okay? Spacing, obviously got a little in-breaker here, stop, route into the flat. And look at this, okay? It's open, all right? You put it on his chest, this is there, okay? And if you want to get really sexy, you could wait and actually work to Juju Smith-Schuster, but that ball is so unfreaking believably bad. Now, I am not a quarterback mechanics and in particular footwork expert, but I have watched a lot of Patrick Mahomes, and one thing Drew Brees talked about with Kevin Clark of This Is Football is that Patrick Mahomes' footwork is different because he's just such a special player. So you knowing that going into it, mechanically, the dude is still butter, right? It is a little bit different than quite a few quarterbacks. You can go down a deep rabbit hole on that. But watch what actually happens here, okay? Look at how much weight Mahomes has on this front leg. If you put a lot of weight on that front leg, guess what? Balls have a tendency to dip, okay? Look at this. All-arm throw. Ugh. And it's just a bad throw. It's really, really, really bad. It's a labored release, and it's just not him. All right, so here is how it's supposed to look. You do get a little bit of a pre-snap motion from Travis Kelce, but this is basically it. Now, this is not a third and short situation, so the throw is easier, and you do start off seeing Mahomes scan left and work back to the right, but that's how it's supposed to look, right? Now, you take a look at Mahomes, the footwork on this play is just a lot cleaner. We've seen him hit these kind of stops 1,000 times to Kelce, and you notice here, there's just not so much weight on this front leg. Mahomes, obviously, a lot more calm, and this is a regular season game versus a freaking Bears. But you see, it's just not all on that front leg right there, and he's able to make a good, easy throw. So, we get the first ever, as in this has never happened in the illustrious career of Patrick Mahomes. We get a pick six. What the heck? Are you kidding me? Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball away to the other team and they return it for a touchdown? That's exactly what happens. And on this rollout, and once again, there were 2 sacks before this. One I think Mahomes could have gotten out of, but still, you could see he was staring down. You can see it's a few steps into this. Just head directly on DeAndre Hopkins the entire way, and Cooper DeJean sees it, and that is an easy pick six going the other way. Doing the dang thing, baby. Look, DeJean's a great player. Eagles, great defense. But, I mean, it's all of this, all wrapping up into one. Okay, now this was just so bad from Patrick Mahomes. Quick game, quick out, Travis Kelce. This is just simple stuff, right? I don't know why he got off of this route right here. Bang. I mean, this is a nice gain right here. Or you could potentially fit this into Xavier Worthy, but hit this one, get Travis Kelce going, get this offense going. But no, he gets off of that and then throws this pick right here to Zach Bond. All right, here we go. Patrick Mahomes. I mean, this footwork is just so noisy. Very choppy, very jittery. I understand this guy is being driven back into your lap. We need you to step up into this and do something, okay? Not throw while you're getting hit. Ugh. And we get to the 2-minute drive right before the first half. Before this, he missed Xavier Worthy on a goal ball. It wouldn't have counted because of a holding penalty. And we get to this third and Lenexa. Okay, you got to pick up at least 11. But, man, this might be the worst miss of Patrick Mahomes' career. I mean, this could not have gotten any more wide open. And this throw is terrible. I understand DeAndre Hopkins should still catch this, but when you're this open as a receiver, you're trying to keep your feet, right? Once again, Mahomes making a lot of checks at the line of scrimmage. It's not too out of the ordinary with the Kansas City Chiefs, but there was a lot of that, which, in turn keeps those linemen in stances for a very long time. But his depth perception was clearly off, so he does a good job stepping up into the pocket. Nolan Smith loses his feet. And look at this, okay? I mean, anywhere else, look, this ball is thrown obviously on a line. You want to put a little bit more loft on this ball. You also just want to throw this ball just better, just a little bit higher and a little bit more on him. Yeah, sure. This was not the best from DeAndre Hopkins. He himself lost the football, I guess you could say. First play of the third quarter. And once again, this was not Andy Reid's best effort. Fangio did a lot of Fangio things. But, man, hit this. You're looking right at it. It's Juju Smith-Schuster, right? Had a big game versus the Eagles. Just an overall good player. You just got to hit this, and you just got to hit this. Instead, it's a 1-yard sack. And watch what he actually does here. He just kind of runs into the sack. I mean, everything is just moving too fast, okay? Even if you didn't want that to Juju Smith-Schuster, keep the play alive, and maybe you could throw this post to Marquise Hollywood Brown, who had leverage on big plays.
You take hits. You're going to be a quarterback that throw interceptions and turn the ball over.
So how bad was Mahomes? You know, there's so many comparisons to the Tampa Super Bowl, but as you can clearly see, this game was way worse per cumulative EPA. And in that game, Mahomes was under constant pressure, but the tape showed that he still played well. Like, don't use that as the end-all, be-all excuse as to why Mahomes laid an egg versus Philadelphia. I mean, this ridiculous throw hit his guy right in the helmet, and he couldn't bring it in. And the stats actually bear this out as well. This 11 QBR versus the Eagles was his second worst in his career. And as you'll see, he went on the worst 4-play stretch, worst 8-play stretch, worst 10-play stretch, and 20-play stretch in NFL Super Bowl history. As a Liverpool fan, I know this all too well. Superstar goalie Karius gets elbowed in the face by Sergio Ramos in the Super Bowl of soccer, the Champions League final, and he would go on to make 2 unforgivable mistakes. So has Karius ever rolled a ball straight to the opponent for a goal? And that play actually happened 2 minutes after the elbow. And then, of course, let a ball go straight through his hands. Has he ever done that before? Maybe, but not in the same game, right? And the hit that Mahomes had on his head early in the game, it might not have given him a concussion per se, but it definitely could have rattled him. It makes sense, right? Because you saw these mistakes that we've honestly never seen him make in this game. Now, once again, the Eagles were the better team. They've shut down other elite quarterbacks and rattled them and so on and so on. But for Mahomes to lay this level of a stinker, a head injury would explain everything. Floating in your face some other videos, and we'll talk to you soon. It is Power Hour NFL, baby. Boom! I had so much fun in NOLA. Tonight we are doing Scampi.